For the record, I also just generally dislike puddings.
Fair.
So,
I mean,
there's only one acceptable kind of pudding, and that's chocolate pudding from weird buffet-style restaurants, specifically pizza-style buffets like a Mr. Gatti's. That chocolate pudding, very good.
rip Cece's Pizza.
I don't understand how a place like Cece's Pizza goes out of business.
Because you can't have buffets open in a pandemic.
Yeah, but I mean, well, I guess that's true. Oh no, we're going to lose a Mr. Gatti's too.
Oh no! I've never eaten there, but that sounds terrible.
It's not that big a loss, frankly.
Yeah.
And thank you for tuning in to Gay Space Rocks, a Steven Universe watching podcast where we watch Steven Universe. I am your host, Brian. I use he, him pronouns, and you can find me on the internet at RoomWherePod, and you can find this podcast on the Twitter at RoomWherePod as well. With me, as always, is my co-host, August.
Hello, I'm August. You can find me on the Twitters at Harpydora. Also, Brian, we did not clap, but I know that you don't use claps, so I guess it's okay. But you've also said that you line things up with the Craig backup, which we don't have today. So
it's easier to do with only 2 tracks, frankly.
Okay, cool.
I just do it. Basically, I just space it off of the intro, where I just line your track up off of me introducing you, and then when it sounds right usually.
Okay, that's fine. In that case, yeah. Also, my pronouns are they, them. I'm pretty sure I didn't say that, so I'm saying it now. We're actually recording this on International Pronouns Day, so you better have some fucking pronouns. You're not allowed to not have pronouns on the day that we're recording this. So when you hear this, go back in time a week and assign yourself some motherfucking pronouns.
Yeah, do it.
That's it. That's all I got.
All right, good. August, have you watched any cartoons this week?
I have not watched any cartoons, but I have watched the Haunting of Bly Manor, which is very good and very gay. Explain
to me what this new season is, because I will never watch this scary shit.
It's honestly like it's a lot less horror focused than Hill House was. It has a lot to do with just like some interpersonal drama. It has a lot to do with dealing with intergenerational trauma. Despite being set largely in the 80s, it dealt with the homophobia really gracefully. Like, it wasn't really an in-your-face thing. It was something that was kind of mentioned and definitely had an effect on the characters involved, but it wasn't overstated. It wasn't played for, like, misery porn or anything like that. But the plot of it is it's the 80s, and there's an American girl on the run from her past who moved to London, and she takes a job as a live-in au pair in this giant house in the English countryside, Bly Manor. Yeah?
What is an au pair?
Fancy nanny.
Okay.
And there are 2 children. They're very creepy. Of course, that shit's haunted because everything's haunted in England. And it has to do a lot about, uncovering why it's haunted, who the ghosts are, and just handling the interpersonal drama. There's like 2 jump scares, but overall it's just a really nice story. Like, the characters are pretty well done. I was kind of shocked. I thought that they were going to brutally kill off one of the gay characters, and they did not do that. And it was very satisfying.
Good. I'm glad that it was good. I watched the Darkwing Duck 1 hour DuckTales special this week. So that was fun. It was actually really good. I'm excited if this is a pilot for a new Darkwing Duck cartoon, the interesting direction they'll be taking that in. I continue to enjoy for somehow the new DuckTales.
I really...
Why do you...
I want to watch the new DuckTales so badly.
I just kind of like how I watched it is I just started watching the first season, and if I was like 5 minutes into an episode, I'm like, I don't really give a fuck about this. I just skipped it and moved on to the next episode.
Here's the thing.
And I didn't miss anything, so.
Here's the thing, though. They let David Tennant have his natural accent, so I want to watch it all.
It's good, but I mean, sometimes that first season has a couple of decidedly filler episodes where I'm like, I don't give a fuck here.
That's
Moving
fair.
On. Get me. All I actually wanted to do was figure out this Della Duck thing that I had seen on YouTube. So that was my main goal when watching it. So that may have had something to do with it. I also have watched exactly one episode of Lovecraft Country.
I've heard that's pretty good.
It's a great first episode. I haven't watched episode 2 yet. I'm very late to this Lovecraft Country game, but like that first episode comes out fucking swinging. It's like very fucking normal for like the vast majority of it, deriving all of its oppressive horror from the 60s. And these characters are black in America. And right at the end, it's like, also there are monsters. There are real monsters. And it's like, oh shit, oh god. So that was fun. I'll probably actually watch another episode tonight when we get done.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about that from one of my friends who is very deeply into philosophy of all things. And he said that there's a lot of good stuff just in the series in general from a philosophical perspective. So
yeah, I was kind of reading the episode synopsis, and it looks like it gets fucking wild. And it's good, frankly. Like, I mean, it's Jordan Peele who is the executive producer, so he's not afraid to get weird.
Yeah.
And has a good understanding of the things that he's doing with this. So I expect the series to be good.
Yeah.
I also might this week sit down and finish watching The Watchmen. I watched about half of it, and then my source for getting it at the time dried up. So, but I hear it's the episodes I watched were good, and they felt very much like The Watchmen. Also, the soundtrack fucking slaps.
Yeah.
Because it's like the main composer for the series is Trent Reznor.
Wait,
and
what?
He nails it. Yeah. And he's like in full Trent Reznor mode.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So that's what I've been watching.
I've heard both of those shows are really good and don't pull any punches when it comes to like racial politics either, which is good.
No. Yeah, I mean, like, by comparison, Watchmen opens up with explaining to you what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And then Lovecraft Country opens up with explaining to you, the predominantly white audience watching this, what a fucking sundown town is.
Oof.
So it's like, sweet, good.
Oof.
Love how terrible America continues to be.
Love making white audiences confront their whiteness and be uncomfortable
their
about
fucking
it.
shitty history. Yeah.
By the way,
I need some kind of sci-fi show based on a property that I love to come out and explain redlining. And we'll get the trifecta of shit white people don't know about.
Yeah.
Or are you going to say, sorry?
I was just going to have an aside for our listeners. By the way, Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, if you've gotten this far and somehow haven't figured out that that we support Black Lives Matter and fucking hate cops, I don't know what you've been doing.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, yep. You want to get into our episodes for this week?
Yeah, let's do it.
The lore is fucking here this week, y'all. We are watching episodes 25, 26, and 27, Mirror Gem, Ocean Gem, and House Guest. Let's get into the first episode for today, Mirror Gem. The official synopsis is Steven befriends a magical mirror that can mysteriously communicate him through recordings of what it has seen. I don't know what happened, but our ability to dunk on the synopsis is dwindling quickly.
Yeah, like that was a really legit synopsis.
Yeah, because obviously, like, I mean, I understand that the synopsis doesn't want to give the game away.
Yeah.
So he can't, like, explain to you exactly what's happening. But, like, that's good. That's compelling. Like, I feel like they just switched to whoever the fuck was writing them before, and then finally somebody who gave a shit took over.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, the episode begins with Steven talking to Connie on the phone, and she informs him that she can't come to hang out because she has tennis practice, but her mom has told her that she can come over the next day and hang out for as much as she wants because they're going on summer vacation. Steven's confused by the idea of school since he's never been to one. And Connie sort of explains to him, like, what a school is, and Steven taking the component parts of a school, like a desk and a chalkboard and maps and an anatomy figurine, constructs a school along with Pearl. Pearl's like, what do we do with all this stuff? And Steven's like, I got no fucking clue. I just wanted to learn things. And Pearl's like, oh my god, you wanted to learn? Holy shit. So she summons a mirror from her head. It is a gem-powered mirror that basically can repeat back anything that it's seen. Basically, it's kind of like a repository for knowledge that is recallable. It's a gem Wikipedia, I guess. She found it at the Galaxy Warp. She begins to talk to it, asking it to show the Galaxy Warp, but the gem does not. There's an obvious crack across the back of the mirror, and Pearl is sort of forlorn, saying that it must finally be broken. She gives it to Steven, who is very enamored because he likes looking at himself. And she's like, well, I guess we're done for today. And he's like, is school out for summer? And Pearl's like, yeah, I guess fucking whatever, nerd. Get out of here. So Steven runs down to Beach City because he's very excited because now he's on summer break, I guess. Steven bumps into Lars and Sadie, who are setting up extra tables for the coming summer rush. Summer is approaching, and Lars talks about how many hot chicks I guess he's gonna hook up with over the summer. And Sadie's like, yeah, well, I might meet people too, you fuck. And Steven heads on down the boardwalk where he is almost ran over by Mayor Dewey and the Mayor Dewey van, but the mirror suddenly warns him, playing a replay of the scene with Lars. Steven begins talking to the mirror, and the mirror begins kind of repeating back scenes that it's seen throughout the day. They go to a rally by Mayor Dewey where Mayor Dewey talks about lots of wind things, and Steven and the mirror make fart noises at it. It's very endearing, I promise. Later on, Steven's just hanging out with the mirror on the beach, and the mirror's able to splice together new little clips out of context to be able to better communicate with Steven. It's kind of like Bumblebee from the Transformers movies, but, like, better. It's a lot better than that. Steven's like, you've got to go meet the gems. The mirror is very reluctant to go meet the gems, but Steven goes anyways. He's like, guys, I got the mirror to work. And they're like, holy shit. And he's like, you didn't tell me that it was a person. And all the gems immediately look horrified. He's like, talk to it, mirror. Mirror doesn't want to. He's like, talk to it. God, you're making me look bad. So he turns around, he starts talking to the mirror. And the mirror finally starts talking back to Steven. The gems are getting noticeably more uncomfortable. And Garnet finally comes up to Steven and is like, give me the mirror. And he's like, no. She's like, give me the mirror, Steven. And the mirror starts screaming, no. Steven becomes very, very... God, Craig died, I think. Steven becomes more and more agitated as Garnet is becoming more and more aggressive. Finally, she reaches for the mirror, and Steven slaps her hand away, knocking her glasses off, revealing 3 very angry eyes at Steven. Steven just runs away onto the beach. the gems give chase. Steven begins talking to the mirror. He's like, I know you need help. Let me help you. And finally, the mirror, through great effort, shows him an image of him pulling the gem out of the back of the mirror, which Steven does. When he does, the mirror shatters and the gem forms into Lapis fucking Lazuli, y'all. She's here. Everybody's sad girlfriend is here. She appears, begins immediately coming into conflict with the crystal gems, fighting Garnet, manipulating the water, very powerful. Like, she's right out the gate, powerful as fuck. Almost single-handedly taking down Garnet and the other crystal gems. She tells Steven that he needs to come with her, and he's like, no, this is... kind of stammers and is confused about the whole situation as to why everybody is fighting. And then finally, Lapis sort of, like, walks off into the ocean, leaving the crystal gems and Steven all standing there on the beach. And then Garnet promptly informs Steven that he's grounded. Star wipe at the end. The fucking lore is here. It has arrived this week.
Yeah.
In a big fucking way, too.
Yeah, that... this episode was a lot.
It is. I have this note for these 2 episodes, but holy shit, does it... I know I've said this a number of times about the show before, but I don't understand how they do such a good job of pacing and not making this feel... like, it feels pacing-wise like it's a 20-minute episode and it's only 11 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it never really feels rushed or anything.
But they're getting a whole lot of shit in.
Yeah.
Like, this is a mid-90s WCW Cruiserweight opener. Like, that's what every episode of Steven Universe is. We have a short amount of time to get our shit in. We need to make it look as good as possible.
Yeah.
First note, that face that Steven is making is a fucking 2020 mood when he's, like, hanging upside down on the couch.
Yeah.
But also, Steven has to... like, this scene is a little confusing because Steven has to know what school is, right? He watches a ton of television and movies, so he has to at least be familiar with, like, the tropes of what school is.
Yeah, I think this is mostly just something that happened to set up not necessarily a plot point, but just character establishment. And this happened I think that in House Guest, there's some stuff that also happens that isn't about, like, what the character actually would do or know and is more about establishing plot points. And, like, this show doesn't do this that often, which is why it sticks out so badly when it does happen.
That's true. Yeah, because, like, I feel like they start with the idea of, like, okay, so Lapis is trapped inside of this mirror gem thing. How do we get Steven to it?
Yeah, exactly. And, like, this is also just to establish that, like, Steven's childhood is incredibly abnormal in that, you know, he doesn't go to school. He doesn't have much interaction with other humanoid children his age.
Right. Because, like, he also talks to... so, you know what? I would believe that Petey is homeschooled or some shit, too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like... because, like, Petey and Onion are the only 2 kids Steven's age that we see around, for the most part.
Yeah.
There's probably not a lot of people who, like, live in Beach City proper, I would imagine. Like the vast majority of the population probably, like, commutes in or some shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
From, like, Oceantown or some shit. But, or some kind of suburbs, you know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
Because we never see, like, we literally, to my knowledge, out in 6 seasons of the show, we never see an actual schoolhouse anywhere in Beach City.
Yeah.
So maybe he doesn't have a firm concept of, like, because I was like, well, he talks to Petey a lot because he's got a good relationship with Petey. Not like they're not best friends, but, like, they know each other, and they've talked probably a great number of times, you know?
Yeah. Well, like you said, he watches a bunch of TV, so, like, he should be familiar with the concept of school.
Right.
Like, you can't tell me that this kid doesn't, like, sneak and watch fucking Riverdale.
Yeah. Or he's watching some fucking slice of life fucking high school anime.
Yeah. Like, no. No, sir. No, sir. Sorry, a little bit is trying to rub up on my mixer.
Oh, gonna twist them knobs.
No.
DJ Little Bit in the house.
I have them where I want them. But yeah, like, he's definitely seen some fucking slice of life anime. Like, this kid has definitely watched Sailor Moon. He should know what school is.
I have a note about that later on, but we actually did you catch there's a Sailor Moon manga on Steven's fucking nightstand?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Love it.
It's very good.
So good. Anyways, that's way later.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
so it's one of those things where this is a weird inconsistency. Like that they, like you said, they don't rely on this very often. So it sticks out a whole lot more. But also sometimes you just gotta do shit to make the plot happen.
Yeah.
Which is fair. I love that's Pearl that helps Steven put the school together, not only because she's the one who would most likely be a teacher or whatever, but like Pearl is the most mom, and this feels like a kid doing something with their mom, like going to their mom and being like, "Mom, I've got to do this thing," and the mom being like, "All right, fine, whatever, we're doing this thing, I guess."
Mm-hmm.
And it's very sweet.
It's very cute. I deeply enjoyed, like, Pearl's enthusiasm when she thought that Steven wanted to learn more about, like, gym history and stuff. I thought that was also really cute. And
yeah, we're gonna actually get.
Us,
it's nice because this does set up, because next time we record, we're gonna be watching Space Race, and I feel like this helps set up. In retrospect, I feel like this helps really set up Pearl's vibe in that episode.
Mm-hmm. Also, like, when she brought out the mirror, like, the way that the reflection in the mirror was animated was fucking gorgeous. Like, that scene looked so good.
Show looks so good.
Well, I mean, there are obviously places where the animation budget is completely skimped on, but when they have a big ticket sequence, it looks so good.
Yeah, because I was kind of... I have stopped talking about, like, the art getting kind of weird. But Lord, there are some weird shots in House Guest.
Yeah.
Steven's hands get uncomfortably long. Just saying, like, in that episode, but like you said, like, when they've got keen, like, I mean, it's because these two episodes happen, and then episode 27 happened. They're like, well, all the money's fucking gone.
Yeah.
I know where they put the fucking money, and it was in these two fucking episodes.
Yeah.
Because, like, these two episodes are fucking gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And they do such good there's such good camera shots coming up too. I have a note here. You sure are important, buddy, when he talks about I must be very important to gym history. It's like, oh shit. So fucking true, my dude.
Somebody's been reading the title card.
I know, right? Somebody watched ahead. All right, so let's get to the part. All right, listeners, settle in, because we've got 30 minutes of talking about Lars.
Yeah. Well,
I wrote down level 100 scumbag Lars.
See, my note is 4 words. Lars, why? Why, Lars? Like, okay, I enjoy the way that Lars portrays, like, shitty, toxic masculinity. And like the show does not particularly. Okay. The show treats him very compassionately, but his behavior is obviously framed as not good.
Right. Like, they take the piss out of everything he says every time he does shit like this.
Yes, exactly. And I do appreciate that, but also just like on a personal level, it's just like, oh my God, I dated a dude like Lars. This is so bad.
He is so shitty. It's glorious. This whole interaction is fucking great, where he's like, they're without their boyfriends. You know what that means, Steven? Steven, like, no.
Yeah. It's so good.
Sadie just like laughing at him the whole time because she knows he's a fucking goober.
Yeah.
My
love
notes
Sadie.
here. So, to the audience, I was drinking a little bit when I was watching the episodes and taking notes. So when this scene happened and Sadie was like, well, maybe I'll meet somebody, I immediately paused the episode and then wrote this. And imagine this in Sadie's voice. Well, maybe I'll meet somebody, Lars, and they'll be hot as fuck. What do you think about that, Lars? Huh? Maybe I'll fuck them and text you later, you fucking cuck. Like... Like, I just was like, I should not write these notes when I'm drinking.
No.
So. But yeah, that's definitely... That was just such a great little scene between those two.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's interesting because it tells us, you know, it uses Lars to, again, emphasize that this behavior is shitty. It gives us some, you know, like, mooring in time. And, like, it also is good for, you know, continuing to articulate what Sadie's and Lars's relationship is like.
Right. Because, like, obviously they're, like... from the joking victim moving forward, they obviously didn't start dating after that. Because otherwise, Lars would be in level 200 scumbag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they just kind of continued being, air quotes, friends.
Mm.
They do such a good job setting up the mirror. Like really disarming you about the mirror and not making you think that it's creepy or weird at all until it's super duper is.
Yeah, but even when it does become creepy and weird, it's not because of the way that it would normally be creepy and weird. Like, you know, I'm thinking, because I've had Shrieking Shack on the brain lately, I'm thinking about like the whole way that Tom Riddle's journal is presented and Mr. Weasley being like, don't trust anything that you can't see where it puts its brain, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this has a completely different vibe where it's like, it's creepy because we don't know that that's a person, not because it's like, oh, it's this thing that is like talking or trying to befriend Steven or whatever. Like, that's not the problem here.
Yo, and it also, I just realized, like, they do such a good idea of disarming you about the mirror to begin with, because we're just coming off of Monster Buddies, where it taught us, like, hey, all these monsters, they're not so bad. You can trust them. They can be your friend. There's nothing bad here. Nothing scary about this thing. It's nice to Steven because Steven's nice. Why wouldn't it be nice to Steven?
Yeah.
Nothing bad's going on. Why are you hiding an axe behind your back, Rebecca? No reason. Calm down.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the horror there is more about, in my mind, the Gems' reaction to this.
Right. Like, when that all starts, I mean, it gets a little weird when they do all the laughs, like the repeated laughter. I was like, oh, that's a little creepy. And then all the no's, those also creepy. But, like, immediately when the Gems, I don't know if you noticed it, like, when the Gems start getting worried about the mirror, like when it's like shot reverse shot kind of dealio between Steven and the gem. So it goes to Steven shot, then reverse shot to the gems, but the reverse shot of the gems is framed in a slight Dutch angle.
Yes, I did notice that.
I'm like, hell yeah, camera direction.
It's very good.
It just really sets up like, and building the thing, because you don't know why the gems are so scared of this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously it's some big fucking deal because like particularly Garnet and Pearl are like petrified of this thing.
Yeah. And like that kind of, okay, so we skipped one of my notes, but it was
sorry.
just a bullshit. No, it was just a bullshit note about like Pearl stacking all of the stuff and having to have it be symmetrical, which was a little frustrating to me just because I feel like the kind of implication, oh, Pearl's like cartoonishly OCD, haha, that felt a little mean-spirited, just because like OCD gets thrown around a lot in a very dismissive manner.
That's fair.
But also, I was very sad about MC Bear.
It's okay. He gets repaired.
But Pearl's reaction specifically to Steven saying, "You didn't tell me it was like a person," is very telling to me. Like, that whole... It really casts the gems in general, and Pearl in particular, in a very not good light, which, you know, you were talking about, like, the shots at the Dutch angle kind of reinforces that in a lot of ways. It's just very good.
Yeah, it's very, very solid. And I think you're right about the, like, kind of... I guess it's one of those things where it's like... That is the kind of shit, though, like, when it comes to, like... Because, like, they dive into this shit about Pearl. Like, why she is the way that she is as the series goes on. So I think it is maybe not the most deft joke. And it's probably not the... It would not have been, like, the best approach. Though I do think they do a good job of unpacking Pearl and being pretty explicit that, like, Pearl is not, like, a neurotypical person, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty obvious that, like, that's not... Being neurotypical is not, like, a thing the gyms are. So, except for maybe Garnet? Maybe? I feel like Garnet's just the best at coping.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there are ways that could have been communicated better that
definitely
would not have resulted in me feeling icky about it.
Yeah. Because they do such a good job with everything else. And this is like a weird slip up for them. And one that, considering all the other stuff that they've done, you would think that they would have been able to see.
Yeah.
So... we'll keep an eye on it, I guess. See if it pops up again. I don't remember anything else. I mean, we definitely, like, Pearl is shown as being, like, sort of the tidy one and a little bit neurotic. But that's just kind of been Pearl from, like, episode 1, so.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we're gonna move on to, like, Steven removing the gem, right? I'm pretty sure the gem... This feels like a Full Metal Alchemist reference. Like, the geometric designs. Does that not look like a fucking alchemy circle or what?
It does.
Yeah.
It also looks vaguely Cardcaptor Sakura-ish.
You know what? I think you might be more on the nose. Because isn't there a lot of, like, weird mirror imagery in that show as well?
There's some mirror imagery. There's a lot of, like, pseudo alchemical stuff. It's Clamp, but
Fair.
I immediately go to Cardcaptor Sakura over Full Metal Alchemist, because of the shoujo aesthetic of Steven Universe.
That is true. You're probably right on that pull. I am not as familiar with Cardcaptor Sakura because, like, honestly, I've never watched the actual Japanese one. I've only watched the terrible 4Kids show.
Oh God, that was horrible.
It was bad. But I did watch it. But it's not as ingrained in my brain as, say, like, Full Metal Alchemist is.
Mm-hmm.
Lapis is here.
Hell yeah.
Fuck, it was so good.
It's very good. God, this episode does a lot to make the audience realize that the crystal gems are A, not telling Steven and by extension the audience everything that they know, and B, that they might not necessarily be 100% trustworthy.
Right. They do a lot of work to make the crystal gems seem like maybe they are the bad guys.
Yeah, because, like, the complete non-reaction to the mirror having been Lapis, and not only that, but Lapis, her gem being cracked, like, that says so much.
Well, I want to go into that because, like, on one hand, relitigating this a little bit, like watching it again, like the gems don't show up and go, like there's no beat between them showing up and Lapis immediately attacking them. So they don't really get a chance to to go through a sense of recognition that this gem or the mirror was in fact a person. You know what I mean? Because, like, the way that they react with the gem, because I think there are bits of gem technology that have gems in them and are not, like, sapient.
Mm-hmm.
Like the crystal heart of the temple. I don't think the temple can think and feel. But that's definitely a gem at the heart of the temple. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think part of it was them maybe not realizing that, like, there was an actual lapis lazuli inside of the mirror doing the thing. And because they never really got a chance to, like, react to it being Lapis, because she immediately just goes, "You sons of bitches," which is fair. Like, I'm not saying Lapis was in the wrong here. But she immediately goes, like, there's no beat between Lapis coming out, the gym showing up, and then Lapis immediately, like, punching them with a big water hand.
Yeah.
Because, like, my next note is, like, okay, let's talk about this. Do the gems know what's up with the mirror shit?
Yeah. Well, you talking about, like, the crystal heart of the temple and stuff does kind of make me think it's like, what determines a gem's level of sapience here? Because it's like, we know that the monsters are all corrupted gems that do not seem to have, like, a certain threshold of sentience or sapience, because I always get those two words mixed up. Mm-hmm. And then, like you said, there's the crystal heart of the temple. There's the desert glass, which appear to be gems themselves. But why are those gems different from the gems that power, like, amethyst, pearl, garnet, lapis? All
of the monsters. Like, well, also the spinny gem, the spinny temple gem. The one where it was like the teacup ride building.
Oh,
because I feel like, I think at the time I was talking about how, like, oh, I think that's a, corrupted gem, or I litigated that, like, the desert glass is a gem, and I think they are gems. They bubbled them the same way, and they dissipated the same way when they were defeated or what have you, or bubbled or whatnot. But I also, like, going back and thinking about it, it's like, well, that's not, like, what we see. When we see a corrupted gem, they definitely take on an animalistic form. They're not conceptual. You know what I mean? Like, they're definitely, this is a centipedal. This is a pufferfish, you know? Mm-hmm. They're not, I am sand.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that maybe like some of the gyms are just, or like the red eye for that matter that we saw like in episode 2, like that had a gym in it, but I don't think was like a person, you know? That seemed like a drone. So I don't know. I feel like there's a level of technology that like this is gym powered technology, and then over here like these are gyms, and they're maybe kind of they're splitting off from the same tree, because like gyms are made for specific purposes within society. So it would make sense that like, well, we already have this technology that makes walking talking gyms. We'll just bump it down, and we can probably take all that CPU power that makes them think and turn it into like being a weird spinning building for some reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't like, because like it feels very, because I mean the gems do bubble and capture the corrupted gems, right? But it feels very and like against like the ideas that the gems themselves have expounded, and we are shown that they believe in greatly, of like just keeping a living, feeling, thinking thing trapped inside of a fucking Wikipedia box. So I have my doubts that they realized that Lapis was actually in there. But that's just me.
That's fair.
Let's see. I wrote Jesus the Art. I don't know why, but probably for this whole episode.
Yeah.
I know what it was. It was like when the ocean is being like drawn up towards Steven as he's pulling the gem out of the fucking mirror, because that was such a great fucking scene. The anime was right there. The power of God in anime was in that exact scene.
Yeah.
And I also wrote down that they do a very good job of setting up a mystery here.
Yeah. It's very well done.
Let's see. We had some episodes here, right? Everyone's just talking about Greg in chat. Here we go. Elijah had some thoughts on Mirror Gem. I feel like we've gone through... All right, I feel like we litigated that initial Mirror Gem question from Elijah, which was like, Steven just doesn't go to school? We are also very confused about this, Elijah.
Yes.
Oh, does this mean that the desert glass is also a gem? I think we just litigated that as well.
Yep.
Other question. Steven is very chill about the gems destroying his stuff, I guess in reference to MC Bear. He lives with amethysts.
Yeah.
I feel like shit just gets destroyed around the house pretty regularly, just from like gem roughhousing and also monster attacks. Also, I don't think the gems are trying to be intentionally mean about his stuff. I just feel like they have probably a less sentimental idea about when it comes to like physical objects. You know what I mean? Also, if you want to ask us questions about episodes that I will forget about and then read after the fact, after we answered them all accidentally, you too can join our Discord. The link is down in the doobly-doo. We have a really good community over there, not just about what we do, but about quite a number of our podcasts. And also just everything. We have good conversations. It's a good place. Come hang out. It's a real good place. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to rant at you about like my ideas about what gyms are and are not people. I just was thinking about this quite a lot today.
No, that's fair.
All right. Anything else about Ocean Gym or Mirror Gym? Should we move on to Ocean Gym?
My last note was, I think being grounded is the least of Steven's worries.
Yeah, like I love how that's almost an anti-joke at the end.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. It kind of like reminds me of Connie being like, what am I going to tell my parents? What am I going to tell my optometrist?
So I feel like now that so I have this idea for a segment every time we get a new gym introduced.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess like a non-corrupted gym introduced. We will rank them on the chart of wifeability.
Okay.
Since we've already more or less done that with Amethyst, Garnet, and Pearl.
True.
So should we do current form Lapis, or should we wait till Lapis is at full strength to rank?
I think we should wait until she's at full strength.
Okay. So let's move on to episode 26. Ocean Gym. The ocean disappears on the first day of summer, and Beach City is in a panic. I feel like there could be more here.
Yeah, it's okay. Mm-hmm. It's an okay summary.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's good. It does. So apparently these episodes did air on the same day. I just kind of looked at that. So I guess that makes sense that you don't want to put the episode synopsis giving away the previous episode.
Yeah.
So the episode starts out with the Gems angrily telling Steven that he is grounded for disobeying orders. Amethyst, who is unfamiliar with the term of grounding, is going to literally bury Steven until he learns his lesson. Before the Gems are able to take away his like privileges for like TV and shit, Greg arrives. He brings everyone outside where the ocean has straight up fucking disappeared. Everyone is standing where the ocean used to be. And is very worried. Mayor Dewey, he's nervous. He's shouting loudly. He's got a fucking megaphone and immediately blames the Crystal Gems. He's like, hey, you magic ladies, what the fuck is this? He cries, claiming that no one will want to come to Desert City, and Garnet tells him that Lapis Lazuli was the one who took the ocean. And then, for plot reasons, Pearl explains what the current situation is with Lapis Lazuli. Still upset, Mary Dewey tries to tell Garnet to fix it. She, like, bats his fucking megaphone away. She's like, we're gonna go try and figure this out or whatever. So they go back to the beach house where Steven prepares to go and find Lapis Lazuli. He acknowledges that this whole situation is that his fault, and he doesn't want... he's going to go alone and fix this, and basically fix all of his mistakes. Not wanting to go alone, Connie and Greg and Lion all volunteer to join him with the Crystal Gems, saying, obviously, we're going to go, and Garnet ungrounds Steven. As Steven, the Gems, Connie, Lion, and Greg are leaving, Mayor Dewey is very sad trying to refill the ocean. While driving, Greg plays some of Rose's music, or some of his music that Rose liked. Garnet nopes out and jumps out of the van and spends the rest of the trip riding the roof. We're shown a montage kind of showing that the trip is taking a really long time. Riding Lion, Steven kind of comes up to the side of the van where Pearl is driving because Greg and Amethyst are asleep. And he's like, he laments wondering why Lapis is fighting them when they're both gems. And then Pearl tells him, well, we're always fighting gems. All of the corrupted gems are gems. Things are bad, basically. Steven is taken aback by this information, and is kind of like in his own head about it when finally they reach a giant tower of the ocean stretching up into the sky, which is where the ocean went. Steven walks up trying to talk to Lapis, and she's like, go away. You shouldn't be here. Leave her alone. Steven responds that they're not leaving unless they get the ocean back. Lapis at this point makes water clones of Steven and the Gems, and the Gems begin to fight. They battle. It's sick as shit. In the fight, Greg's van gets flipped and he breaks his leg, which prompts Steven to sort of like start taking the situation seriously. Lapis attacks Steven, but he deflects the attack with Rose's shield, which sort of brings everything to a halt. Steven climbs or walks into the Tower of Water, and Lapis brings him up to the top, where they begin to talk. Lapis sort of explains like The crystal gems are not good people. They don't care about other gems. They only care about the earth. She says, I never believed in this place anyways. And Steven's like, listen, I understand that you want to go back home, but like, this is my home and you took my ocean. She's like, well, I was only taking the ocean. She's trying to stretch it back to the gem homeworld. But unfortunately, there's not enough ocean for her to do that because her gem is cracked and she can't get there any other way herself. Steven says, oh wait, I can heal you. I have healing powers. Lapis is very taken aback by this, but lets Steven heal her crack, where Lapis's eyes go from being all creepy and shiny to like normal, and she sprouts sick-ass water wings. She thanks Steven. They have a very, very awkward exchange, and then she flies off into space. Steven's like, hell yeah. And then the tower starts to fall with Steven on top of it. The gems are very upset about this for obvious reasons, but Connie and Lion take it upon themselves to save Steven. Lion teleporting Connie in and them catching Steven at the last minute. They arrive back at Beach City, where everyone is so super happy that the ocean is back. Greg's fucking van is like straight up fucking destroyed. Everybody is celebrating, and then we get kind of like a pull away scene where Pearl walks up to Garnet saying, so Lapis made it off planet. What does this mean for us? And Garnet's like, we're going to have to wait and see. Steven says goodbye to Lapis wherever she is, and we star wipe on a glimmering star. The end.
Oh boy, this episode was a lot.
A lot. There's just a lot. My first note is, I think this recap is useful for TV, but clunky from a narrative standpoint.
Yeah.
Because, like, the episodes aired right after each other. I don't know who this is for. So I get, maybe that wasn't the original plan.
Yeah.
You have to build this like you're not going to get the schedule that you want. I get that, but weird. Very weird. I mean, it's for a younger audience, too. So, like, if this had aired 1 week after the previous episode, like, it's good to remind kids. Like, it's a good memory jogging thing. It's fine. I guess I'll let it go. I just thought it was very clunky.
Yeah.
I love Garnet just being like, Mayor Dewey, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I'll break you, little man.
I enjoyed Mayor Dewey being like, hey, it's those magic ladies. Because it's like, up until this point, we hadn't really received any indication that the townies particularly know that something weird is up with the gems. Like, even when they're fighting, like, gem stuff on the boardwalk, Mr. Smiley is more focused on, like, Steven and Steven fixing or cleaning up the arcade with no real paying the gems any mind. And so having this sort of confirmation that, yes, everybody does admit that the gems are magic. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, even with the pizzas and the beach party, it's just like, you know, it's not particularly commented on. Nobody says anything about the fact that, you know, Amethyst is a giant fucking volleyball.
Right. And, like, I guess for reinforce that, like, Connie is the only person who ever seems, like, totally taken aback by the gems acting super weird. Because she's not
fair,
from
though,
here.
Connie's Connie's not a full-time resident, so yeah.
Yeah. But I liked Garnet being like, yeah, we'll get it back or whatever, fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the internet is really slipping on their game of like Garnet smacking a megaphone away from Mayor Dewey not being some kind of like go-to GIF reply to like men shouting on the internet.
Yeah.
Get on that.
It's a missed
internet.
Opportunity.
I wrote here, and my next note was, Steven, everything is my fault and I have to fix everything universe.
Yeah.
Poor kid. Somebody just needs to tell him, like, hey, man, it's not your fault. It's okay, dude. Like, dude, it's
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know. Like, I think in some respects, like, this might honestly go back to the fact that Steven has been told and has internalized the fact that he is effectively at fault for Rose's quote unquote death.
Right. He feels like he is the problem because he has caused this thing that has rippled out and caused so many other problems.
Yeah,
Air quotes
exactly.
caused these problems. Obviously, this shit would have happened whether Rose was here or not. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But he has unfairly internalized that he's the reason Rose isn't here, and he's constantly being reminded of the things that Rose could and couldn't do, and he just doesn't stack up to his mother's memory
Right.
in his eyes.
Right. I like when they're all getting to go. Connie is like super relatable of being like, it's kind of weird to be in your house when you're not here.
Yeah.
That's being at any one of your friends' house when they're not there. It's just super fucking weird.
Yes.
Mayor Dewey crying while filling an empty ocean with a water hose. Also a 2020 mood.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Although, like, when he's like, nobody wants to come to Desert City, I'm just sitting here wondering what, like, Steven Universe Las Vegas is like.
I think we see it at one point.
Huh.
Yeah, there's like a big kind of flying montage, and I think we see whatever the equivalent to either Las Vegas or Atlantic City, one of those two things.
Nice.
Let's see. Garnet jumping out of the van instead of listening to somebody's demo gave me like visceral fucking flashbacks to being in a band. Of like listening to so many people's shitty fucking music because either I'm trying to book them for a gig or they want to get booked for a gig, or I'm trying to vet them for a gig because I don't want to play in a show with like pieces of shit. Like it's just like very, very, very visceral flashback.
Yeah, just, God, everything about that was fucking gold.
It's true. Like, because like the music honestly isn't that bad. It's just like some like jangly guitar bullshit, right? With like, it's like so bad. Like it's weird because like I went back and listened to it a couple of times because it's like punk rock, like 3 Chords and a Dream style punk rock, but with like Greg's like ridiculous noodling on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty fun. My next note is in reference to like Connie and Steven writing Lying Together and Connie being like asleep holding on to Steven. I wrote cute with 8 exclamation points.
Yeah, it's adorable.
They're so cute. Continue to be the cutest little kids. And then I guess we get to the interesting part, like where Pearl starts explaining the conceit of the series from this point forward.
Mm-hmm.
It has such an interesting vibe of like a parent trying to explain something inherently bad about the world that their kid is only just now coming to realize.
Yeah.
Like this is not Pearl being like, and we must do this thing. It's like, well, this is just kind of the reality, buddy. Like, it sucks. We don't have any other way of dealing with it. And, you know, we're going to have to deal with this. Like, that's just how it is, you know?
Yeah.
It had really solid, like, parental vibes like that. And I mean, it of course, it came from Pearl, too. Like, the most mom.
Of course.
Like, she's the only one who's ever going to tell Steven the truth, you know? Because, like, Garnet, for being as, like, cool, calm, and collected, wouldn't tell Steven this. Like, she would tell Steven something different or try and sugarcoat it. And, like, same with Amethyst. Amethyst would feel uncomfortable trying to break bad news to Steven. And it relies on Pearl, the only, like, probably the straightest shooter of the 3 gems when it comes to, like, talking with Steven about life in general.
Yeah. Although, like, I don't know, in some ways it felt like she was a little glib about it. And I I don't know. I think this may be another instance of that was done to serve eliciting a particular response from the audience as opposed to something that necessarily Pearl would have been like otherwise, because like the delivery of it is really meant to like slap the audience in the face. But
Well, going forward, Pearl is usually the one who expunds the hard information to Steven. Like basically anytime we get like a big reveal and somebody has to like real talk Steven, it's usually Pearl. So I guess that's why it didn't strike me as weird, because I'm so used to Pearl just doing that. But this,
well, I mean, I'm not saying that it's weird that she told Steven these things. It's just like the delivery seemed a little bit off to me.
how do you mean?
I don't know. It I'm trying to figure out how to word it. It just felt like I said, she seemed very glib about it, like it wasn't necessarily as big a deal as we the audience were meant to take it. Although like that could also be just like Pearl has lived with these facts for so long, she just takes them for granted.
I feel like I kind of had a different vibe. Like she is trying to explain a very, I mean, I guess because I've also had to like watch parents explain hard and difficult concepts to their kid. Because it has a lot of that same tone of like, it's calm, it's very like direct and to the point of trying to explain a complicated, because like even after Pearls explains it, it's obvious that the situation is far more fucking complicated than she's letting it on to be. So she doesn't even give, even here where she's given Steven the real talk, she doesn't even give him all of the fucking information. But like trying to parse out as you feel like they need it, like these difficult concepts of like the world and dealing with the world. Like it felt not necessarily glib, but like I'm trying to stay calm so I don't upset this person who's upset. You know what I mean?
Okay, I can see that.
Though, I mean, it could also, I feel like it's also buffered by what you said of like, this is also just the reality that Pearl's been living with for like, what, 2,000 fucking years or some shit?
Yeah.
So it's probably, but they obviously, they knew, they didn't tell Steven this information for a reason up until this point, right? And they would have maybe, unless this happened, they would have never told Steven that they were fighting other gems. Like, or, you know, maybe when he was much older or something like that. But like, it's very indicative of how they feel about Steven that they just never told him this very important thing about the thing that they do. The water tower is dope. Holy
Yes.
shit. The art, we're about to see the entire budget just get blowed in the next 5 minutes of this show.
Yeah. I wrote down a bunch of stuff about how beautiful the art is from here going forward. It's gorgeous. Like honestly, this is just kind of like a local thing. But the way that you could view the ocean life in the water tower just makes me wish it were safe to go back to the Georgia Aquarium, because they have this huge tank with a whole bunch of shit in it and a gigantic viewing area.
Nice.
That's just gorgeous, and I love it.
Have you been to the one up here?
Ripley's, yes.
Yeah.
I went on my birthday right before lockdown happened.
Oh,
so,
nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I enjoyed it greatly. It's very different from the Georgia Aquarium, but like it has way more touch pools, which are A+.
Yeah. For shoresies. they start planting hard the seeds of the idea that like maybe the crystal gems are the bad guys. Or that the situation, I think maybe not necessarily that they're the bad guys, but shit is way more complicated than anyone is letting on. I also wrote here, every shonen anime has arrived all at once and in full force.
Yes. Yes, it has.
The fucking, again, like talking about like they're taking, I mean, this is a Western show that takes its cues from anime, not in art style or like cribbing even storytelling tropes, but like knows when to steal the right shit, frankly. Because this fight scene is so good against like the mirror doubles. Like it's impactful. It has a sense of place. Like you know where everybody is in relation to everything. Things don't come out of nowhere. It all makes sense. It's such a good fucking fight scene.
Oh yeah. It's gosh. And I really love the conceit of like everybody's fighting their own doubles. And the way in which like their doubles counter themselves. It's just very good. The whole fight sequence is so good.
Right. I wrote here, let's set aside some time so August can talk about the Purple Puma showing back up.
Yeah, I was just very happy to see the Purple Puma. I enjoyed like the way that kind of represented a break from Amethyst's normal fighting style. If this were a different show or a different anime, then this would have been the thing that would have allowed Amethyst to defeat her double, because like Amethyst fighting Amethyst, they're evenly matched, but the Purple Puma is different and has a different fighting style, and the water clone doesn't know how to counter it because it wasn't part of what Lapis studied. I don't know. I thought it was a nice touch.
Yeah.
I enjoy seeing Amethyst do Amethyst things. I love the Purple Puma.
I had an interesting, like, when I saw it, I thought it was an interesting idea. Like, Amethyst is getting her ass kicked by this version of herself, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like she goes for the Purple Puma, especially, like, in combat, because, like, she feels more, I've taken it as, like, she feels more confident, she's more comfortable, and she, like, feel like she's more confident in herself when she's, like, in that persona.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was,
it's also like you saw a lot of the stuff that she was doing beforehand involved like kind of trying to keep her distance, but when she shifts into Purple Puma, the Purple Puma is a melee fighter.
Right. She's like she flips her entire script to like, you know what, fuck this. Actually, the only crystal gem who has a different way of fighting than the one that they're normally used to.
Yeah. Yeah, so happy to see Purple Puma.
Yeah.
I can't believe...
Lapis is just gonna murder some children, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, uh-huh.
Do you think that she actually wanted to murder these children, or that she doesn't understand how human beings work?
I think that... I mean...
Or a little column A, little column B.
Yeah, it's one of those things where she talks about having never really cared about Earth anyway, or never really wanting to be here. So it's like she understands that there are other things that are not gems on Earth. Whether or not she was particularly interested in the working of those things remains to be seen. But ultimately, like, she is not... I don't want to say she's not herself exactly, but, like, we saw how radically Amethyst's gem being cracked altered how she acted and the way that she interacted with the world. And so, like, if she hadn't been cracked, while this were going on, I don't think that she would have necessarily tried to murder children, especially not Steven.
Right. I think also she probably doesn't realize that Steven has to breathe.
Yeah.
Because Steven says he's a crystal gem. He has a gem. He's a gem.
Yes.
You know. And also, like, I think you have a very good point there. Like, she just got out of being imprisoned. She's injured. And she's just desperately trying to get away. And they're just things in her way of escaping.
Yes.
So, I don't know. Lapis is pretty casual about murder. So it's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think that it's necessarily like she intended to kill these children. I think she was just doing stuff almost on autopilot in some respects.
Because I don't think she's conscious. She's like standing at the top of that tower, moving those things consciously anyway. They're just like they're a redundant part of her brain, just doing the thing.
Yeah. Although we actually, I think, Elijah said, less a question and more a comment. Lapis manipulating the water clones to be as good as or better than the crystal gems is scary. Like, she's definitely the strongest gem we've seen, and she did that while damaged. Which, yeah, that's definitely worth pointing out.
Yeah, this is the mid-season of the anime. Like, this is the part in Bleach where, like, one of the fucking assholes from the Soul Society shows up and just, like, beats Ichigo into the fucking ground. Like, it's like, oh, we're playing on a whole different level. Like, these people are on a whole different fucking universe than what our people are into. So, we learn very far into the future. Like, when I say the future, I mean Steven Universe future. Like, what Lapis does. So, like, gyms have roles in Gym Society, which will become kind of a sticking point, especially when we get to, like, Pearl. But Lapis Lazulis are used for terraforming planets.
Okay.
You deploy, like, a Lapis Lazuli to terraform a planet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that's why she can manipulate water.
That does raise some interesting questions, because, like, if the gems are just, like, hard light projections, why do they need the planet to be terraformed? But
that is... We will find that out, I think, in season 2.
Okay.
But not for good things. They don't terraform planets just to habitate them.
Okay.
So I guess I'll leave it at that. But yeah, also, it's very interesting. I feel like it's very interesting, Lapis being like, I never believed in this place. When she, like, is kind of doing her kind of end monologue there, because this was supposed to be a colony under Pink Diamond. So, like, Lapis was sent here under that idea, so that means she was not confident in Pink Diamond's colony from the jump.
Yeah.
Like, because it's obvious that Lapis does not give a fuck about the crystal gems and their ideology.
Yeah. Like, I just get heavy, like, I didn't even want to be here in the first place. Like,
yeah.
You know, it was just a job. It was supposed to be my last job. That kind of vibe.
Yeah, for real.
But I do want to skip back just a second before we get too off the rails, because has it really taken Greg this long to ask what the fuck the gems are doing on their magical missions with Steven?
Well, I think he has a vague idea, but I don't think he realizes how fucking
intense.
Awful yeah, because I'm like, these are valid concerns, Greg.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, Greg is completely valid for how he's feeling right in this moment, but it's
I don't think he's ever thought that there's anything on this planet powerful enough to beat the gems this way. Because for his entire life, the entire time that he's known the gyms, like, they've beaten everything that's come before them. But he didn't know, he never saw other like, non-corrupted gems except for, like, Pearl, Amethyst, Rose, and Garnet.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, they're very powerful. And he had confidence in them, in their ability to protect Steven. And then this new gym shows up day one and immediately starts kicking their fucking ass.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
Is, like, we've never seen the gym, and I think this goes back right here, like, the way that this whole fucking thing right here works is them very early on being like, here's the thesis of the show. That you're not, like, conflict like this is not going to be resolved by fighting. This isn't a show where you punch the bad guy and you win the day.
Yeah.
Because violence is not the answer here. It is not, it proves to be ineffective. No matter how good the gyms are at fighting, they're not going to beat Lapis with just their fucking fists. And also the fact that Garnet can punch water, like, really hard, that was very surprising, frankly. I forgot that Garnet can punch water hard enough to kick it backwards.
Yeah.
But, like, what it comes down to is Steven going up there and talking with a person, de-escalating a situation, and figuring out how to fix the thing. And no one else wanting to take the time to do that same work.
Mm-hmm.
But also I did write down here, Lapis is, like, the first real enemy the show has ever had.
Yeah. Everything else has been very monster of the week, and she is definitely, like, mid-boss.
Yeah. And they do such a good job of being like, if this is what the mid-boss looks like, holy shit. What the hell else is coming?
Mm-hmm.
The talk between Steven and Lapis is very good. I love Steven just being like, just being real with her, just being very kind, very understanding. She literally just tried to drown him, and he's like, hey, buddy. Hey.
Yeah. Honestly, like, this is something that Anya and I talked about a fair bit in an Equestria Gaze recording that we just did, where in My Little Pony, to a certain extent, and definitely in Steven Universe to a large extent, the main characters, well, in Steven Universe, Steven specifically seems to intuitively understand that usually what is going on is there is some sort of underlying, like, unmet need that is driving sentient enemies to do the things that they're doing, and that violence isn't going to resolve the issue. The real thing that resolves the issue is finding a way to meet that need so it no longer seems like violence is necessary.
Right. And he does this with almost every bad guy. There is, at the end of this season, we do punch one bad guy in the face to solve the problem. Sort of. But that actually, it goes terribly. It goes terribly wrong. That victory is very hollow by the end of the episode. So that will be fun to get to. But yeah, like, they're setting up that, like, understanding is going to solve the problems. People on the internet. Hey, Twitter. hey, the Steven Universe fandom. This show is about interpersonal conflict. It was never going to be a big fight at the end. So.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on. Speaking of Twitter, somebody talked to us on Twitter recently. Let me pull up and make sure we're not forgetting that person's. They're literally the only person who's ever commented on anything I've posted on Twitter. So I might as well go make sure that we're not leaving them out. Oh, they're talking about the big sword. We'll talk about the big sword. Alex Guerrero on Twitter. We'll talk to you here. We'll talk about you in a little bit here. At Fractal Dragon. But yeah, like so heals Lapis, like whole demeanor change too when they're like, hey, she's not a bad guy anymore. Like they do immediate like face turn on Lapis by giving her pupils. Apparently that's all you need. But yeah, like love this Lapis face turn. The wings with the character design really add a lot. The just how painfully awkward the interaction between Lapis and Steven at the top of the tower is just glorious.
Yeah, it's very good. Shoot, I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, and honestly, like, the background art for just the top of the tower during that whole sequence, oh my god.
It is... This show when this show wants to look fucking amazing, it just pulls out all the goddamn stops.
It's so good.
Also, Steven calling Lapis Bob is going to come back.
Oh boy.
No prob, Bob. It comes back way later. I think in like the season fucking 3.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know, right? Good times. Good times. So Lapis flies off. Action Connie was great.
Mm-hmm.
Really sets up like Connie having a much more active role in Gem Adventures starting in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really nice. The definitely has like that. They set such a good fucking mood at the end of this episode where everybody cheering, and then Garnet and Pearl, specifically Garnet and Pearl, which I think Amethyst has a much more limited understanding of what's going on than even, like, I don't feel like they've explained the entire situation to Amethyst. Because it seems like just the two of them kind of really concerned about this situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's very interesting that it's just Garnet and Pearl talking about this and not Amethyst in that conversation. So yeah. All right.
The last note that I had is, thank you, Sadie.
Oh yeah, for throwing fucking, yeah. This is what, all right, everybody, I need you in your life to throw every Lars in your life into the ocean.
Yeah.
Throw your Lars into the ocean.
Just yeet those terrible men in your life into the ocean and don't look back.
Yeah, fuck them. You don't need them. They're not going to get 4 seasons of character growth. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it. Do you have any last notes or anything to say about Ocean Gem before we move on to House Guest?
That's it.
Okay. I feel like these are also the 3 episodes where we're like, okay, we're going to act like we're moving away from episodic into a more hybrid between episodic and serialized storytelling.
Yeah.
Because episode 27, House Guest. The official synopsis. After injuring his leg, Greg comes to live with Steven and unintentionally interferes with Steven's powers. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Thanks, official synopsis. We're only like 9 episodes into the show and you ruined our only bit. By being good at your job. Fuck.
Give it time. There's still plenty of episodes for it to completely fumble.
That's true, I guess. Thank you for seeing the bright side, August. While Pearl is fixing Greg's van, Greg is basically injured. He's got his leg taped up in a splint sort of thing. And Steven is like, oh, hey, I can heal you with my healing powers, after Greg sort of suggests maybe he could move in with the gems for a while, and Pearl is real cagey about that reality. So Steven licks his hand, slaps on Greg's broken leg, then seemingly nothing happens. Steven is kind of upset about this because he thought he was doing so much better with his powers. But everyone's like, it's okay, buddy. You just need more practice or whatever. So the gems allow Greg to come stay with them, resulting in Steven and Greg spending a whole lot of time together. This is shown in a montage with a song called Dear Old Dad. It's a very cute montage. Garnet breaks in, telling the gems that the geode has cracked and they must leave immediately, including Steven. Suddenly, Greg feels lonely and he kind of goes on a bit of a fucking guilt trip about it. And Pearl gives him a thing called the warp whistle, which doesn't look exactly like the warp whistle from Mario 3, but you know they wanted to draw it exactly like that. Basically, it alerts the gems if Greg needs anything. They show up at the geode. It's a geode. I don't know how to explain it other than it's a geode sitting in the middle of a crater. It's got a big crack in it, and there's a storm going on. Garnet explains. Well, no, not Garnet. Sorry, my bad. Pearl explains, or starts to explain, that there is a synthetic storm trapped inside the geode, and if it breaks, it will be released and basically murder everything, everywhere, forever. Suddenly, the warp whistle goes off while Pearl is trying to explain this. Steven heads back to the house where Greg's like, oh, I'm just trying to check to make sure it works. So Steven goes back. They explain more of the thing. This bit kind of continues for a little while, with Greg kind of calling Steven back for not, like, the most serious reasons. In the midst of this, the gems are like, all right, Steven, go heal the geode. And he's like, I don't think that I can do it. And they're like, no, you got this, buddy. You can fucking do this shit. So he goes to heal the geode, slaps his spitty palm on there, and nothing happens. So the gems head back to the temple. After they are summoned once more by the warp whistle, Steven comes in. He's like, Dad. Greg doesn't answer. He immediately becomes panicked where he runs upstairs. Greg has fallen asleep. He explains to Steven, oh, he called him back because he just missed the funniest fucking commercial. And finally, Steven's like, listen, Dad, you've got to be serious about this shit. I was afraid something had actually happened to you. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, buddy. Hey, could you go run and get me some food from the Big Donut? And the gems are like, yeah, we're going to head back into the temple and kind of come up with a plan to try and figure out what to do with the geode pretty quickly. And then Amethyst gives Steven a little bit of a pep talk, telling him to forget about earlier and also get her a croissant. Steven walks outside, and immediately remembers something.
He forgot to ask his dad what kind of donuts he wanted.
Yep, thank you. And he walks back in seeing Greg not just standing at the refrigerator, but just full on fucking dancing. Just going hog wild right there in front of the refrigerator. And Steven's like, what the fuck, Dad? And he's like, what do you mean? Dad, what? Dad. And he's like, oh, my leg. And he finally starts kind of putting on the act. And Steven's like, what the fuck? And just kind of loses his shit on Greg, telling Greg that he really fucked with his head by lying to him. Greg's like, well, I just wanted to spend time with my kid. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cause any of this. And Steven kind of like huffs his way outside to kind of clear his head. He collects himself, calms down. He walks back inside where Greg is on the warp pad. And Steven's like, what the hell are you doing, Dad? And he's like, I'm going to go fix the problem that I've caused. So he and a bunch of tools go to the geode. Steven jumps into the warp gate at the exact time. Steven and Greg kind of like talk about the geode. Greg is like, you've got it. You can do this, son. You can heal the thing. You healed me. You've got the power inside of you. So Steven very confidently runs towards the geode, licks both of his palms, double healing power, activate, and fuck all happens again for some reason. Greg's like, listen, buddy, it's okay. We've got duct tape. And then they duct tape the geode closed, and that fixes it. Ancient gem technology containing a storm that can literally level the planet. A single strip of duct tape solves the problem. So they go back to the temple where Pearl has repaired the van. Greg is so happy that he hugs Pearl, who is horrified at being touched. Mood. And before he leaves, he hands Steven the roll of duct tape, telling him just in case. Steven keeps it on his nightstand. He goes to bed and he shouts goodnight to his dad, who's still kind of like just sleeping in his van outside of the house, where Greg says, goodnight, Steven, star wipe, the end. Oh, actually, heart wipe, the end.
Yes.
This episode caused the most vigorous conversation in our Discord. Not the heavy lore episodes. The episodes about Greg. And I feel like that's good. That's a good thing. That's not a flaw. It's a feature.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this episode definitely... Okay. This is another instance of the episode is predicated on something having to happen, and I feel like what we have seen up until this point indicates that this should not have gone down the way that it did, but the plot dictated that it had to happen.
How do you mean? Like Greg lying to Steven?
Yes. Specifically Greg lying to Steven, because, like, up until this point, Greg has, like, he's been a little bumbling and he's been known to sugarcoat things, but he's never really outright lied. And we do know from Rose's room that at the very least, Steven's perception of him, and possibly Rose's perception, because I still feel like some of what happened in Rose's room was powered by, like, a shred of Rose that was left in the gym. But, one of the things that stuck out to me, partly because it was just really funny, but also because it was in line with, or felt like it was in line with Greg's character, was him talking about, at least you were honest about it.
Right.
Like,
well, here's the thing. I think they do a good job. I don't know if we're going to go note by note. I feel like the real meat of this episode is just talking about why Greg makes this decision. You know, like, but yeah, like for real, there's like a page of conversation in our Discord. I can't read all of it, but it's just people like doing this exact litigation that we're about to do, probably. But like, good on Elijah and Shannon and Izzy. Shout out to everybody in our Discord. I loved reading this conversation and tried not to talk into it too much because I wanted to save it for the microphone.
Yeah.
But I think he does a good job. I think this episode does a good job of explaining to you why Greg would do this. Like, this is, I think this is hearkening back to the same thing that we've seen multiple times with the gems and we're going to see moving forward. But Steven Universe is a show that is not concerned with parents that are perfect or even good all the time. They're concerned with parents that are trying to do their best and watching and seeing what happens when their best is not good. And I think it's important that even the best parental figure in Steven's life, the most reliable, I guess, not necessarily best, I guess. That's kind of mean toward the gems. Because they do a lot of work too. But the most reliable parental figure in Steven's life is still very, very capable of letting him down in a very real way. Of shaking his confidence, of doing something that really puts him on the back foot, because that's a thing that happens to you as a kid. Your parents will do something they don't understand, has the sort of like repercussions and effects that are happening on you because, you know, unlike Steven who can talk to his fucking parents, most of us just fucking don't. You know what I mean? Because we initially get like, he's like, oh, I could because he only does the lie after he makes the suggestion, hey, I could stay with you guys. And then Pearl shoots that shit down immediately. Like, I feel like, because they were talking about, like, why he can't stay. And I think it's Pearl. Like, I think it's fucking Pearl just does not want his ass in the fucking house.
Yeah, I feel like that's a fair read on the situation.
Because, like, Amethyst wouldn't give a fuck about hanging out with Greg. And I don't think Garnet cares. But it's like that, you know, this is on, and we don't know about, right now we understand, we've seen a little bit that, like, Pearl obviously had a thing for Rose. And you and I both have future knowledge about, like, that relationship with Pearl and Rose. But right now, as, like, the audience is seeing it, we don't understand what the full extent of that relationship was. Did she just have a crush on Rose? What's the deal? Obviously, Pearl has been the one who's been the most sort of, I guess antagonistic would be that's the only way I can think of to put it, toward Greg. There's decidedly an animosity when, obviously, Pearl cares enough to, like, fix his shit. She doesn't want him to die or some shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she is the one who has the most animosity to him, and then immediately she's very concerned about Greg moving in. And that immediately puts kind of Greg feeling shitty about it. You can see they do a really good job of like animating his face of, like, he's kind of has the wind taken out of his sails of not being able to spend this time with his kid, you know?
Yeah.
And then when presented with the opportunity, he makes a shitty, selfish decision for himself because he wants to spend more time with Steven. And his way of being able to do that is to pretend that his leg has continued to be broken.
Yeah. Yeah, the tension between Pearl and Greg is so uncomfortable.
It really is.
And I mean it's supposed to be uncomfortable, but oh gosh.
And like, it's even worse with the knowledge of why they have this dynamic to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, cuz like at the time, I really need to, like, we, again, for the millionth time, I'm saying we need to figure out a way of feeling what the vibe was at the time when these episodes were coming out. But I remember people talking about, like, thinking that the relationship between Rose and Pearl was more one-sided, with it being, like, this unrequited attraction from Pearl at Rose, when it was far more complicated than that and far more mutual than that. And also didn't come into the fact that, like, all of the blame that Pearl puts on Greg about the fact that Rose is no longer around. Which we get to. We do actually. This builds and does come to a head. Maybe in season 2. I'll have to look at the episodes, but it comes to a head. There's a musical episode. Where it all comes to a head at, because this is the kind of show where they want to, they're going to solve the biggest conflict between two characters with a musical.
Of course.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I think, like, it's very uncomfortable. You can see it, like, upsets Greg, and I think it's all very predicated on the fact that, like, Greg, Steven's rock, for all intents and purposes, makes a very selfish decision that he doesn't understand the ramifications of. Because obviously, if you had explained to Greg, like, if Greg had known that, like, Steven's confidence in his powers would be shaken by this to the point that he would lose them, obviously Greg would have never made this fucking choice, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he would intentionally do something that heinous to Steven, but it's not about the thing that he intentionally did. It's about all of the unintentional little things that we do to people and how it fucks with the relationships because people don't want to communicate. Because we wouldn't have this problem if Greg and Pearl had talked at any fucking point in time about their fucking feelings.
Yeah.
Also, I do have one note that I need to go back to, which is, did Greg not go to the fucking doctor? What the fuck? He just taped some shit to his leg.
I'm pretty sure this was pre-ACA, so he may not have had any way of getting health insurance.
I am glad that the United States of Steven Universe is exactly as fucked up healthcare-wise as the real United States. Jesus, titty fucking Christ. Oh my god. Sorry. Just
No, you're fine.
Reminded me of the fact that I also don't have healthcare and would love to go to the doctor sometimes.
Yeah.
I wish I had a son who could spit on me and heal me. I can't. Why did I say that sentence?
Sometimes things just make sense in your head and still should not be voiced.
Yeah, I mean, that sentence all made sense. It just was a terrible sentence to say. So the little song is hella sweet though. Like, I feel like that does a bit to like try and show you. I feel like that leans into the same thing of trying to explain to you why Greg made this decision that he did. Because like
from a plot perspective, yes, it's very sweet. But honestly, like, this is the first song I've heard in the series that I'm just like, ugh.
Greg's voice actor is not the best singer.
No, and I mean,
and honestly, Zach was a little off on this too.
Yeah, it didn't sound that great.
I feel like I feel like maybe if they had like, I think it's because Zach is kind of puts on a different register of his voice to be Steven at this current age. And so he's trying to sing in that register, and so it's not necessarily 100% comfortable for him to do. Because I feel like they've kind of changed, like, when Steven sings in the previous times we've heard Steven sing, he's like a little bit lower pitch to his voice, you know? But I think maybe they, like, had him sing at a little bit key that was a little hard for him to hit so it could contrast better with Greg.
Yeah. I mean, I was not enthused.
Yeah. It did a good job of like telling a story though,
yeah.
or reinforcing the plot. They can't all be bangers. There's fucking 5 seasons. They're all like, it's 99% bangers, and frankly, this is the only song that I'm like on. I'm also in the category with you. Like, it's a cute song. I feel like if maybe they re-released these songs and they had both actors kind of go at it another pass at it. Like, maybe change the key on it a little bit, I think it'd be fine. I don't know, what am I referring to? My notes, I'm referred to my notes after, it says, this song is hella sweet. And then my next 3 notes are, fuck, Jesus, ouch. And I don't know what I'm fucking talking about.
Okay, so I don't know what your fuck is about, but I know that my next note after the song ends is about Pearl, like, wiping all the grease off, and it's just like, I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah, it's kind of weirdly hot, huh?
Is it meant to be that sexual? Like this is, I feel like this is some lesbian fan service, but it still feels very weird.
I know, right? I had, you know what? Same vibe. I'm like, is this like Pearl coming out of the pool? Like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
This fast time on Gemmont High, like.
Jesus.
You're welcome for that joke. But yeah, same hat. Like, I'm like, oh, this is a little hotter than I thought it was gonna be, and I remember it being. Also in this episode, the art gets real wonky near the end of this episode, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
This is the first time where I'm like, ooh, Lord. Because, like, it's Steven's hands keep changing length, and that's the thing that really fucks with me. His fingers get so long, it's uncomfortable. And that's the thing that, like, because, like, it's only really the last third of this episode where it feels like it kind of gets a little weird and, like, loose on the art.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, they've got to crank out 52 episodes for this season, which I'm glad. I feel like a lot of these inconsistencies and issues like this get solved when they ratchet down the number of episodes per season. Because like they're probably the studio is probably cranking these fucking things out at a blistering fucking pace.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Yeah. So. I think maybe the fuck was the conversation between Steven and Greg. Like, it's just fucking brutal. And where Greg is like, he's like, why did you lie to me? He's like, I just wanted to spend time with my kid. Like, he's very raw and visceral when he says that. And it's like, you're pissed off at him because of the things that he's done with Steven. And in that moment, it's really fucking heartbreaking when he says that.
Yeah. 100%.
And so, like, I think, like, and again, this is like the thesis. Like, Greg is coming to realize he's hurt his son. He makes a decision that he's got to go fix the fucking thing. I feel like the episode does a good job of redeeming Greg by the end. When he realizes the ramifications of his decisions, the hurt that he's caused Steven, he immediately takes steps to solve the problem. He doesn't try and pass the blame off. He explains himself, obviously, but when he realizes that he's fucked up that bad, he's like, well, I've got to go help my kid. And I think that's the key thing here, is that he fucks up and he does the things that he takes the steps he needs to solve to solve the problem that his fuck up has caused.
Or at the very least, the steps he thinks he needs to take.
He's trying his best. He doesn't understand. I mean, it does technically work, so.
Yeah.
I mean,
realistically, he has no fucking clue what's actually going on. And so he's just kind of like heedlessly throwing himself into a situation that he does not understand.
Yeah.
And he's just damn lucky that, like, duct tape fixes everything.
It's very true. I think it's interesting that I think it's a very good a show that was less concerned with building its characters in the way that Steven Universe is would have had Steven get his powers back in here.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good and bold choice to be like, hey, Greg's selfish decision is going to have lasting ramifications for his kid for a while. And Steven's gonna have to get over this problem right here. And I think that's a very, that is Steven Universe taking a very bold decision with its storytelling. And again, being letting it be confident in its audience to understand what's going on. Like, and not telling kids, like, everything's going to be fixed immediately, It feels like it's a very realistic sort of expectation setting for, like, its audience.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I do love how supportive the Gems are, even when it looks like Steven might not be able to do magic. Just, they're never upset about it. They're just very matter of fact. It's like, okay, well, you tried your best.
Yeah.
So, don't worry about it. You're not at fault, and we just need to find some other solution.
Yeah, they do a good job of trying to. Now, I guess it's like one of those things where, like, the Gems are like, you'll get it. It's fine. You're young. You're just now getting your powers. Of course you don't understand. Like, of course it's not going to be consistent,
Yeah.
And then, but Steven being a kid, and, this is true for most kids, when something bad happens, it feels like the end of the fucking world. And especially for Steven, who already has a whole lot of confidence issues and has internalized a whole lot of, like, blame and fear that is probably just picked up from, like, the way the Gems act. Because I don't think the Gems have ever directly said shit like that to him,
Yeah.
But he is worried he's got this legacy to live up to, and he's internalized this sense of this weight of responsibility that the gyms haven't put onto him, but sort of have, unintentionally have placed upon him. About him living up to his mother's legacy. And it's very interesting to see the gears are like, they spent, we spent 26 episodes building Steven up, and it's like, all right, time to come back down, motherfuckers. Because this is an anime, and that's what happens in anime. It's time for Steven to go to the hyperbolic time chamber.
Jesus.
Sailor Moon manga.
That means that Garnet is Piccolo, right?
Yes, Garnet is Piccolo. Obviously, Garnet is Piccolo. The one you want to marry? Yeah, it's Garnet.
Yes.
Piccolo, second best dad on Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Vegeta's the best dad. I hate to say it, but he's a very good dad.
Well, okay, so like right out of the gate, Piccolo is the best dad, but Vegeta overtakes him later in the series.
By the end of the series, Vegeta is the best dad.
Yes.
Piccolo is a close-ass second. Goku is the worst dad in history.
Yes.
Come fight me. That's a known fact about Dragon Ball Z, frankly. No,
it is.
Even the most ardent Dragon Ball fans wouldn't be like, yes, Goku. They're like, yeah, Goku's a bad dad.
Yeah.
But I love the Sailor Moon manga. Like, straight up just a Sailor Moon manga. Right there on Steven's. Again, how does Steven not know what school is?
I don't know.
I think it's very cute, him, like, screaming down to Greg. Also, seems like a good solution for their collective problem here, but whatever. Seeing as Greg's house moves.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? For what could ostensibly have started out as, like, more of one of the fillery episodes, like, lots of fucking meat on the bone here. Like, these are three pretty solid from a storytelling perspective episodes, and two of them are knock it the fuck right out of the park from art direction wise as well.
Yeah, and all of these episodes are really good with like character development and stuff.
Yeah, we learn a lot about a whole lot of things in these particular episodes. Like, you can really feel the show has definitely shifted gears in 25 and 26 and did not shift back down with 27.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else about episode 27, House Guest?
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Just in as far as, like, is the Geode supposed to be alive?
I think the Geode I think it's exactly what they said it is. I think what happened is, like, during the war, there was an engineered storm deployed as a super weapon, and then this Geode was built as, like, a deterrent to that. Like, I think the Geode is literally just a containment vessel called the Geode.
Yeah, because it's like, I almost wonder if Steven's healing spit wouldn't work on it anyway, because
we've never seen him be, because I think, honestly, it wouldn't have ever worked. Like, even if Steven was at full power. And I think, honestly, that may be the thing that shakes his confidence the most, is that I don't think Steven's powers work on things that are inanimate. You know what I mean? Because later we will see Steven be able to use his powers to, like, regrow a flower. But that makes sense. That's a living thing.
Yeah.
Like, we are never, and the gems are living things. We're never shown that Steven's powers can, like, fix a pair of glasses, you know? And so I don't think that he was ever going to be able to heal the Geode. And that may honestly have done, that combined with the Greg thing, did a whole lot of damage to Steven's confidence. Because they don't understand his powers well enough right now. But yeah, I don't think he would have ever, the way that they set up the rules for his powers, I don't think he would have ever been able to heal the Geode.
It's a good thing that duct tape works.
Yeah. Duct tape works pretty good. I mean, personally, I would have used something a little bit heavier duty, like a Gorilla Tape. Because you wouldn't want to use... This is a situation where I would not use gaffer tape. Because you want something rubberized. What with the electricity. But 99% of the time, gaffer tape. The other percent of the time, Gorilla Tape. Normal ass duct tape, not that great. Don't buy that, kids. Buy Gorilla Tape. It's better, it's stronger, you need less of it. Trust me. I fixed a lot of things that you shouldn't be able to fix with Gorilla Tape.
Cool.
So kind of nearer toward the end, I guess after the end of season 1, there's a little short that's released called We Are the Crystal Gems, which is an extended version of the song at the beginning of the show. But it reveals some information, also has some like backstory. Because like, I'm sorry, I'm reading trivia on this Wikipedia page where it talks about Greg says the reasoning behind his lies is that he wanted to live with his son again, indicating that he lived with Steven before. And this fact is confirmed in We Are the Crystal Gems. Because like in that little short, I might show you that. We'll wait on it. We'll wait till at least after the Amethyst Spotlight episode.
Okay.
Because like technically what it does is it reveals that like Garnet is a fusion, but we know that because it's 2020.
Yeah.
So I realize now that the short doesn't doesn't spoil anything that you don't already know. But it shows that like Steven lived with Greg for a long time, like probably until he was like 10 or 11 years old. So that's very interesting. Like, and it's interesting that like Greg saying, I just wanted to live with my son again. You know, it's really fucking sad. Jesus. Also, apparently, I didn't catch this, but Steven has a picture of Connie on the top shelf of his bed shelf.
Aww.
They're so fucking cute.
That's very cute.
Man, that Sailor Moon... I'm looking at that picture of that Sailor Moon manga, and god damn, is that just straight up a fucking Sailor Moon manga. Like, they didn't even try to hide it. Also, it looks like Steven is rocking some kind of Android phone, so... Good on you in 2014, rocking that Android phone.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of really weird licensing things when it comes to, like...
iPhones.
And
they're very distinct
Apple
imagery.
products.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you cannot have a bad guy use an iPhone. Like, that is against the licensing agreement that Apple will make product placement people sign. So if there's somebody that you don't know in a movie, if they're supposed to be good or bad, but they're using an Android, like they might be bad. If they're using an iPhone, then that means that they're the good guys, and that's a red herring that they're trying to make you think they might be the bad guys.
Interesting. Also, Android phones are going to be cheaper, and Lord knows Steven probably goes through those motherfuckers.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
So yeah. All right, we have come to the end of the episode. It is time to rank Lapis on wife goals. Fully formed Lapis, not cracked Lapis. Where I feel like Lapis is like your pastel goth GF.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that may be just because
like,
I know more about Lapis. Lapis is like a very, very depressed character.
I don't know. I still feel like Garnet is ultimate wife city to me.
Oh, yeah. No. I'm not saying that Lapis has any way surpassed Garnet in like the like wife's like mayor of Wife City. That is Garnet. That will probably forever be Garnet. I don't know. You might change your tune when Bismuth shows up. But we're very far away from Bismuth.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Bismuth is like more solid. Like if Garnet is your type, Bismuth is like if somebody custom made a character in this show for you.
Fair.
Like big, strong, like looks like they can bench press a mountain, blacksmith like lesbian.
Yeah, that sounds like August bait.
Yep. Also, I feel like you're going to be tempted by oh, I've forgotten her name. How did I have forgotten her name?
Jasper.
Yes, Jasper.
Yes. I mean Jasper isn't wife material, but it's just like, this character is definitely also August bait.
It's true.
Large mean woman who could break me. Yes.
Right.
Please.
Jasper is like the fling that you have. Fucking Bismuth is who you settle down with.
Fair.
Yeah. God, I love Lapis is one of my like favorite fucking characters. I love all of the very fucked up characters in Steven Universe. None of the gems get away with being like just being normal people. Like they don't get to have good lives. And I like that, frankly, because like they do a lot of good. We're gonna see a lot of good work, especially in season 2, of like Lapis dealing with just like being incredibly fucking depressed. And then we're also gonna get Peridot in season 2, who is like the little like on the spectrum gremlin, and I love her very much as well. And then like, you know, all the gems and their fucking current issues that they have. Especially, we're gonna see some fucking issues next week. I always say week, like we record this show weekly, which we super do not. But next time, well, we're just kicking it right out, like just fucking kicking the door in next time. So next time we're gonna be watching episodes 28, Space Race, 29, Secret Team, and 30, Island Adventure. And it's like Space Race will fucking destroy us. Secret Team will be cute and it'll allow us to breathe a little bit. And then Island Adventure, prepare for an hour of us being mad about Sadie and Lars again.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Steven takes Lars and Sadie on a vacation to a magical beach to mend their friendship. You can only imagine how much material we're going to get out of that.
Oh boy.
Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah. Oh man, we are we are only 2 episodes away from getting to Alone Together, where Stevani shows up. I'm very stoked about that. Also, the test is in that episode, and that is a fucking heartbreaking episode too. Man, it just this series is picking, like, just looking at the episodes, like we're just picking up speed. We're not going to slow down until we hit jailbreak. So, thank you for listening. I know this has probably been a long one. I have not even checked to see how long we're at. Holy shit. Anyways, thank you for listening. If you want to, check us out. If you like what we do here, check us out on our other stuff. I am the GM for The Room Where It Happened, an actual play podcast. Right now we're doing Space Appalachia stuff. It's very, very good. You can also check out me in August playing video games on Mondays on our Twitch channel for our podcasting guild. It is Standing Stones Prod, right? Prod?
Yep.
Yeah. Probably by the time you hear this, we'll be back on our BioShock grind. BioShock 2 broke us a little bit, so we took a little bit of break. We played a little bit of Darkest Dungeon. It's been much better than the one session of Darkest Dungeon we've played is infinitely better than BioShock 2. A game that had a lot of problems and hurt me physically
and psychically.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like all the games we play hurt me psychically. I'm running out of psychic hit points. Where can they find you on the internet, August?
I can be found on Twitter at Harpydora. You can also hear me talk about another very colorful children's cartoon that acquired a large adult following over on Equestria Gaze. It's like Gay Space Rocks, but make it horses.
Yeah. You need to maybe switch to that because I didn't think it was gonna when you make it whore, and I didn't think it was gonna end as sus. And I'm like,
No.
I didn't think that Equestria Gaze was like that, but all right.
No, although like I'm genuinely shocked at how little pony porn has shown up on the Equestria Gaze Twitter dash.
I finally fixed the filters on the Gay Space Rocks Twitter, so I don't accidentally pull up weird gem porn at work.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also a wide variety of actual plays that we're both on, but yeah, y'all already know about that.
Yeah, you know that.
Links will be in the doobly-doo if you don't.
Yeah, something you might not know about though is if you like the format of this and Equestria Gaze, go also check out another show that's on our podcasting guild, Escafil Files. If you like this but for Animorphs, Jade and Danielle are killing it over there. Doing. We're basically taking all this children's media. That's Standing Stones Productions is about two things. It's about actual play podcasts that are gay as shit and reevaluating children's media. Apparently. This is our brand.
It's true.
But yeah, check us out on Twitter at Gay Space Rocks. I'm at Roomware Pod. For real, come talk to us either on Twitter or Discord. It's a good time. Real big shout out again to the people in our Discord. Shannon and Elijah and Izzy and Ashlyn and Philo. Like, you guys all do, you guys all make it fun to hang out. I don't remember who's Skull Bunny Galaxy. I don't remember your real name. I'm sorry. But also shout out to you. And then also shout out to Alex Guerrero at Fractal Dragon, or at A Fractal Dragon on Twitter, for talking to us on Twitter. The first person to talk to us on Twitter.
Intentionally.
Intentionally. We got tagged again, by the way. Did I tell you about that?
No.
We got tagged again by some country music artist who was on the other Gay Space Pod, the real Gay Space Pod. And then I was trying to parlay that into them becoming onto our show as well, but it didn't work out as well.
Alas. Oh well.
So we look forward to talking to you guys again. Should be a fucking banger next week or next time. Shit's all fucked out there. Stay safe. Who said our call out last time? Was it me?
It was you. So
all right. So yeah, send us home, August.
All right, everybody. Remember, be like Cookie Cat and leave your family behind.
Peace.